Normally I would be running around with my camera, trying to take the best shots of the speakers on stage and highlight their most essential quote. Because that is what I do as a visual storyteller. I tell other people's stories. Today is a bit different. I'm not taking photos of today's event, which is very weird. And instead, I have to tell my own story. You see, I'm not used to being the center of attention, and I don't like to talk about myself that much. And how could I, when they always told me I don't belong in that spotlight? So, here I am, taking my spotlight for the very first time in my life. But why am I here? Apparently it's because of this little girl. No, I'm not a top model, I'm not a life changer like Anna, and I'm certainly not a young Einstein like Lucas, our next speaker. But this is a story about an average girl who's been bullied most of her life and turned her weakness into a strength. So there it is, I was bullied. Quite a lot, and for quite some time. It started when I was 4, till I was 16, by kids and by teachers. And even after that, I always was the outsider or the peculiar one. I can tell you a lot of different stories about how my childhood looked like as a bullied person, but I want to take you back to one specific memory which illustrates one day in the life of a bullied. So here it goes. It was in the summer of '94. I was 11 years old. The clock hit 4 p.m. The school bells started ringing. It was time to go home, and such a relief, because home meant safety. And in a way, I was also a bit nervous to walk down that playground, for I never knew what was going to happen. Some days I was lucky, and some days not so much. This time, I wasn't so lucky. So I'm on my way home, and suddenly I'm surrounded by 30-something kids, and they all start threatening me, calling names, pushing me around, and even hitting my face. I tried to yell back, but quite an impression one makes against so many. I was so angry and scared, but not just because I was surrounded, but more because I realized that I was utterly and completely alone. And every day I started to doubt people more and more because of this kind of behavior. The thing about being bullied is that people don't know what it means. They don't know what it means to be called names or to be talked down to every day, and what the impact it has on someone's life, on that moment itself, and especially when you're a grown-up and experiencing physical or mental problems. A lot of the pain and the consequences go by unnoticed, and the actual damage is most of the time invisible, which means if people can't see it, there's nothing wrong with you. So you're just complaining or overreacting. But the fact that we don't talk about it doesn't mean it doesn't exist or that it isn't true. I didn't talk about it because I didn't feel safe. My teachers didn't do anything about it. But it sure as hell changed my life. Being bullied made sure of it. I don't like to be in the spotlight, any kind. I feel awkward in a crowd, I don't know what to say. And I don't trust easily. Worse, I'm holding myself back because of insecurity or doubt when those past buttons are being pushed. So yeah, it left me a bit battered and bruised. But it also made me the person I am today, which is 100% me. Quite ambivalently, I always held on to my own identity. I never felt the need to belong to a group, so the importance of being myself became my beacon. It was my drive to go on, to do better, or to make something of myself. And that is a good thing, or otherwise I wouldn't be so good at what I do today as a visual storyteller. So because of this past, I have a different perspective on the world, a different perspective on people. I like to listen, I like to watch. I'm an observer, which is a very important aspect of my photography. I'm looking for a kind of truth and authenticity within people, and that kind of truth is what I want to capture. I don't call it photography, however. I changed the notion of photography into something that fits my life's perspective. So it became visual storytelling, stories of the people. And that basically means that I want to make people more visible and approachable. I want to show who we are dealing with and what each of you have to offer. I want to teach people that's okay to be yourself and that's okay to share your personal story, because we all have beautiful stories worth sharing. And maybe I like to see it as my ambitious mission to make the world at least a little bit more truthful and authentic. To give you a slight impression of my work, I want to show you a few slides of a project I did about bully victims. I portrayed 9 different women with different backgrounds of different age, with different experiences. And I had 3 reasons for doing this. First of all, I wanted to give a message to the ones who are being bullied. Know that you're not alone. Hold on, don't give up. And maybe it sounds a bit cliché and easier said than done, but I know I always thought that I was the only one. So it might give some hope. The second reason is I wanted to give these women their spotlight or a moment to shine. And the third reason is obviously a personal one. I want to say goodbye to a piece of my past. So a finished chapter became a finished book. And it was such a rewarding project to do this with these women, because they all had to overcome their fear to tell their story publicly, because being bullied is still a taboo. You don't like to talk about it. I always felt ashamed to mention it, because I was scared to be labeled as, oh, you're the one who's being bullied, so there must be something wrong with you. But these women were happy to have cooperated. It left them proud and happy, because they were given a spotlight. They were taken seriously. And with it, they took back a little bit of their confidence. And maybe it's just a little bit, but with enormous importance. And then I realized it all starts with confidence. When you get your confidence back, you can heal. And when you're healed, you can be yourself again. And when you are yourself again, there is room for fun and to actually live. Which brings me back to the importance of being yourself. Inspired by Sun Tzu saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, I like to say, keep your friends close, but yourself closer. Your friends are important, but so are you, so don't neglect yourself. Why? In the end, you are the one, or you can be your biggest enemy if you lose sight of who you are, or what makes you truly happy. You're the one who's holding you back, and you're the one who doesn't set the boundaries. Second, the only way you can be true to others is if you stay true to your own core. Bullies, or a bullied person, we don't need to be someone else to be better. We don't need to be someone else to be popular, be accepted, get the better jobs, or make more money. No, the only thing we need to be, is ourselves. We need to be our true self, because know that your biggest strength and power lies within. But before I want to finish this off, I just want to make a picture of you all, because in the end, I'm still a photographer.